The market structure cheat code. Let's go and have a look at the market structure cheat code and see what it's all about. But before we go there, I'm just going to pull this picture up a little bit. I'm going to have a little chat to you guys. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rob. And for those of you who do know me, I'm still Rob. And it's Coffee with Rob. So let's get started. Always good to have a sip of coffee before you get started on anything. The market structure and the market structure cheat code. What is it all about? What am I talking about when I talk about market structure? For those of you who've been on the course, you've done a load of courses, you paid thousands of dollars, and you've come back with all this information about market structure and abbreviations and little names for things. But are you making money? Those of you that know me will know that I always tell you that the squiggly lines are just there to give you a high probability trade. It's all about maths and algos and fractals and all that sort of thing. The computers, those are just there, the little lines, so you can draw a line in the sand. You can say, I want to go long, I want to go short, I want to buy, I want to sell. Whatever the case. The art to making money in the stock market is all about the strategy. And I'll show you the strategy after we've been to the charts. And after we've looked at how we can deal with market structure, then we can have a look at the business plan. Because if you don't have a business plan, when you get into trading, you're in a lot of trouble. You're going to lose a lot of money. Watch the charts, listen to it. It's high probability. You can use any system you want in the market. They've all been tested. They've all been back tested, and they all work. But not all the strategies work. And that's where the trick lies. The trick lies within the business plan, within the strategy, because it's all about FOMO, fear of missing out. It's all about fear. It's all about psychology. That's what makes you the money in the markets. Let's just go down to the charts here. And let's go and have a little look at what we can do to make it a little bit easier in your life when it comes to looking at market structure and trading. I'm going to leave that picture there. Hopefully it won't get in the way too much, and hopefully we'll be able to see what on earth is going on the charts for you. Now, for example, what we normally do is we trade three ways. Those three ways are simple. The three ways that we trade. Number one, we trade with a trend. The trend is your friend. You might have heard this terminology before. The second way we trade in a range. A range is when it's going between the support and resistance and it's just staying in a straight line. That's a range. And then we counter trade the trends. We trade when it breaks structure. Those are the three ways to trade. That's the cheat code to trading structure, to trading with price action. There is no other way. There's no more complicated way. You don't have to wait for the moon to turn into green cheese to take a trade, or for the Mars to pass Saturn or something to that effect before you can take a trade. You simply trade with those three ways. We use the candles, red and green, so we can see when the thing's going long and when the thing's going short. Simple as that. But how do we take our levels? Taking the levels is very simple. What I normally do is we trade on the H4, which is a 4-hour chart. We like to take our levels from a day chart. And what I sometimes do, and what I always do, is I always give the members the weekly rundown on the weekend, the weekly rundown on the trades for the week. How are the trades doing for the week? Because it's good to know what the trades are doing for the week. Then you know what you're doing for your 4-hour trade. But we take our levels daily from the day chart. And every day, I also give the members in the morning a video which depicts the trade, go over the market, trade of the day, that sort of thing, so that we can decide where we're going. If you want to join as a member, click the link below. It's YouTube member, no problem. What I do is I go to the day chart and then I take it to a line chart. What we do, we take it to a line chart. Once we've got a line chart, then we can clearly see where our support is, where our resistance is, and what our trends are. So what have we got here? We've got a bullish trend on the day, and we're going to take a rectangle and we're going to draw it in over this resistance level over here. Now, why do we use a rectangle? Because the market is not maths, it's people, it's human beings, it's traders in the market, loads and loads of human beings in the market, selling and buying. To have a market, you need a willing buyer and you need a willing seller. End of story. You can't have one without the other. The point being that if you have an area like this, where it keeps bouncing off, a support bounce like this, where it comes down, goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down, that means that all the other traders are looking at the same thing you are, and there's loads of money in this area, loads of orders in this area, and people are taking the money and going the other way. The big institutions will come and look for this money so that they can take their long trade to the upside. But now you know that is a big major support on the day. Up here, we've drawn in what's probably a demand level. I'll show you that in a moment. But we're not going into supply and demand today. We're just going into support and resistance and the three ways that we trade. So now we've got our support We are not trading in a range. We've broken the range. There was a slight range here and it broke out. Now it's in a trend. It's in a strong bullish trend going to the upside. We know that. We can see that. Now we've drawn in a trend support. We know that there's a trend support here. Now, why did I draw in the trend support? The trend support is actually a really simple little line which just tells us, and it's got to touch about 3 points. 3 points is good. 3 points is always good for a trend support. But what the trend support tells us is it's staying in the trend and it's staying above the trend. If it breaks that trend and starts going to the downside, then it's broken structure, and then we're looking for a counter trade. That's as simple as it gets. That's how easy the cheat code is. There's nothing complicated about this. Let's take it back to the bar charts, because the bar charts give us a lot of information. Let's take it down to the 4-hour chart, because that's what we're trading on. If you want to trade on the 1 hour, you can trade on the 1 hour as well, and you just get a slightly bigger picture. Now we're trading on the 4-hour. There's your 4-hour chart. Now, the reason this was drawn in is it was a clear demand or supply level. We draw demand and supply levels in based on the fact that you have a red candle with many candles going beyond it. This one doesn't seem to apply anymore, so we're going to delete it. This one has been taken out at this level. I'll show you that. I shall draw the little rectangle in so that you can see where it got taken out. And just to make it a little bit easier for you, I'll maybe leave it there so you can just see it while we talk about it. Doing a bit of problem here, getting it light. There you go. So what you see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles behind this little red one. You only need 3. 3 is good enough. 3 big candles. Just tells you there's a load of money that moved up here, which means there's a load of money lying in this area. So what you do is you just draw in a little rectangle here, the size of that red candle. That tells you about where the money is. And it will go up and it'll always come back down. It'll take that money. And as you can see, it came down, spiked into here, took this money, and has now started to move back up again. It'll always come back in and try and take that money. The nice thing about this particular trade is you've got the confluence of the trend support coming through here. And the trend support is telling you that it's come down, hit support, it's come down, taken the money, and it's gone up, staying in trend. When do you counter trade this? When that breaks through this trend support, gives you a red candle to the downside, then you can turn the trade around. We'll go and look for one of those down here somewhere and see if we can find one that's going to give us a good... There's the picture. There's the picture we're looking for. How did I remember that it was this particular product? It's great. Now, this particular product, we can clearly see was in a nice bullish trend. It's Aussie dollar, US dollar. Nice bullish trend, was going up. Everything was fine in the trend. And then we got a red candle coming through the support. Big red candle coming through the support. What does that tell you? That tells you it's changing its mind. It's changing the trend. It's counter trending. Then you can go short, and you take the short. It goes all the way down. But what we've got here is a demand level lying right here, right in the bottom here. That's almost like a support as well. Now what you've got to be careful of is it hits that area, could bounce back up again. But you've taken all this short level down to here. Now you can decide, am I going to wait for this to break through that and then continue on down, or am I going to wait for it to bounce and go up towards, back towards, and retest what is now a trend resistance rather than a trend support? That's how you counter trade. You wait for it to break through that. But how do you know when it's going back up again? Really simple, guys. The best way is always to take it to a line chart. The line chart, because the line chart gives you closing prices. Candles give you spikes, and spikes are not great because you don't know if it's just spiked quickly because somebody said something, or if it's an actual bunch of sellers and buyers getting in and out of the market. So the closing prices give you the closing price on that 4 hour or on the day, and you know that the price closed in that spot, in that area, and that's the price. That's a more reliable price. And the reason I take my prices from the day is because they're more reliable than the lower time frames. Now let me explain why the price is more reliable if you take it from a higher time frame. If you had an experiment and you were going to start $1 billion company, and you wanted to know if your system worked, and you took 5 people and you put them in a room to test your system. 3 of them come out successful, 2 of them fail, and 3 of them say the system's good. So that's a win. Are you going to start your $1 billion company based on that? But if you took 1,000 people and you put them in a room and they looked at your system and 800 of them came back and said it's great, you might start your $1 billion company based on that kind of information because the sample size is good. Now that works the same with trading. If you've got 4-hour charts or day charts, that's the 1,000 people doing the sample size. And if you're doing the 5-minute time frames, that's the 5 people doing the sample size. So the sample size is that much more useless, that much weaker. and your information that you're getting from that candle is tiny and worthless, and it's not going to give you a lot of information. All that information is happening within the day candle all day. I thought I'd bring that up just so that you know. So what you do is you draw another little line in here. That is now a trend resistance going the other way, just so that you know if it turns around. You can do that on the 4-hour chart. You don't have to go to the day. You just so that you know if it turns around, it's going the other way. And then you put it back to the candles. There you've got it back on the candles. If it breaks to the upside and heads on up, then you know it's broken to the upside and it's changed its direction. Easy. So now you've taken the short, it's gone down, it's hit this level. You want to know if it turns around and breaks to the upside, you want to get out of the trade because it's going the other way. Then you just draw the short-term level in here. You can see if it's breaking to the upside. Makes it very easy. Doesn't make it difficult in the least. People overcomplicate trading on a regular basis for no particular reason. I see this all the time. Every day. I'm just making my face and my mug a little bit bigger here so we can chat about strategy, so we can chat about the markets in general, and that's just going to be a lot better for us there. There we go. Now we can chat. Now you can see my ugly mug and we can chat. The thing is, guys, those are the squiggly lines. The squiggly lines are great. They're going to give you a high probability trade every single time, and you're going to take the best trade you possibly can. Because nobody wants to take a trade to lose, unless I don't know anyone who does yet. But nobody wants to take a trade to lose. Not that I know of, probably not in general. So when you take your trade, you're expecting it to win. It's high probability. But a win rate is meaningless. A win rate is not going to win you a prize in the market. Because you can win 8 trades in a row. You can win 8 trades in a row, no problem. You win 8 trades, but you win on $10 on every single trade. That gives you a total of $80. And on the 9th trade, you take a gargantuan loss. That to me spells a loss. So if you take a $1,000 loss on the 9th trade, you make $80 on the 8 trades that you've won. That means you've got an 9 out of 10 win rate, but you've lost $9,000 or $920. Not bad maths, eh? So there you go. That's the thing. Win rates are meaningless. Win rates are not going to make you money in the market. They're never going to make you money in the market. What you need is a strategy. What you need is a proper strategy with stop loss and risk management to make you the money in the market. It doesn't matter what time frame you're on. It doesn't matter what instrument you're trading. It doesn't matter what planet you're on. Whatever you do, have a business plan. If you were opening a grocery store, surely you would have some kind of business plan ensuring that you would sell those groceries. Even if your business plan was, I'm going to open on the 1st of the month and I'm just going to open the double doors wide and make sure everybody comes in and buys groceries. That in itself is a business plan. You've got a plan. Somehow with trading, people just start trading. They got no plan and they just hope that it's going to fall into their laps. And they have this mishmash of wins and this mishmash of losses, and nobody really knows what's going on at the end of the day, do they? If you want to win, you've got to have a proper strategy in the market. And here's a strategy for you guys. Very simple. If you say got a $100,000 account, and I'm just using that as a round number, please don't come back to me with how much, when, why, how. So many people will ask me, can I make money in the markets? And the first thing I got to ask you as well, how much money have you got to make money in the markets with? Because if you were opening any other business, you would need some kind of capital, wouldn't you? You can use funded trader markets, and if you want a funded account, I have left a link in the description for you if you need a funded account so that you've got some money to trade with. They give you instant funding as well. It's actually amazing, to be quite honest with you. And then I've also left you a free Forex book down there, by the way, if you want to learn a little bit about trends. Getting off track. Let's get back on track. Let's get back where we're supposed to be, back onto the strategy. So you got a $100,000 account. Now, what do you do with that $100,000 account? First thing, number one, is keep the account size the same. If it goes to 150,000, take the money out, put it in your bank. Take the 50,000 out, put it in your bank, leave the account at $100,000. It's a $100,000 account. Never leave your money with the brokers, especially if it's a funded account. That's even worse. Now, you got a $100,000 account, you risk 1% per trade, or whatever amount you want to. If you want to risk 10% per trade, that's fine. 2% per trade, that's fine. Whatever you want to risk, you risk. I just risk 1% per trade, which is $1,000 per trade. $1,000 for every trade on a $100,000 account. But then you keep the risk the same on every single trade. You don't change it, because if you change it, it's not going to work, is it? If you risk 1,000 on one and 200 on the other one, you know which one's going to win, don't you? The one that you risk 200 on. The one you risked 1,000 on, that's the one that's going to lose, and then you're going to be in the red. It's not going to work, is it? It's going to fail. It's just simple logic, nothing special. Just think about it. Keep the risk the same on every single trade. That's the only important rule that I have. Every other rule you can break. You can break all the other rules. I don't care. But that rule is the important rule. Keep the risk the same. Because then you've got a constant as to how much you will lose, because you want to win more on your wins and lose less on your losses. That's the point. Now what you do is on every single trade, you want to take a trade, you look at the trade and you say, the first thing you do is you look and you say, that's where I want my stop loss. It's an invalidation area, an area where I wouldn't trade with your money, where I wouldn't trade with anyone's money. That point, I'd say that trade is completely invalid. That's where I want my stop loss, down there. Down there, all the way down there, that's my stop loss, or up there, whichever way I'm going. Then, at the stop loss point, you put your stop loss and you say, how much is $1,000 back, 1% of my account, back to the cost? That is the size of my trade. Now I've worked out the size of my trade. It might be 20 lots, it might be 0.2 lots, it might be pairs, pips, whatever. You've worked out the $1,000. Now you look and see, is 2-to-1 risk to reward possible? You don't just say, oh, I want 2-to-1 reward, so I'm just going to put it there and pray that the price gets there. That's not how it works. What you got to look at is, if I look at this chart and I look at this trade and I want a 2-to-1 risk to reward, if I want to make $2,000 for the $1,000 that I'm risking, is that possible? Can I do that? Or can I at least make 1,500 or 1,800 or 3,000, whatever the case? And if that looks pretty close and pretty good, you've got a trade. But if you can only make $50 for the $1,000 you're risking, you're nuts. You're not going to take that trade. Don't even go there. Don't do it. The next thing I always point out, guys, is when it goes into loss, don't dollar cost average. Don't be dollar cost averaging the trade, because then you're just going to make it worse. Why are you dollar cost average? It's going into loss. You've got a plan, stick with the plan. When it gets down to that stop loss, that invalidation, don't move it away. Remember what I said. I said it's an invalidation area. You said it's an invalidation area. Why are you moving it? Take the loss. You've got to learn to lose. But it's even worse when it goes into a win. When it goes into a win, it's $300 in profit. The first thing you want to do is press the sell button. You're like, oh, I want to sell that. I got $300 there. I'm going to sell that now. Quickly, get the money. Let's get going. We're out of here. No, that's where you're going to lose as well, because now you've taken $300 profit when you wanted $2,000. What a waste of time. There are times when you're going to want to take that profit because you can see the trade's failing. And then there are other times when you move your stop loss up to break even because it's in a profit, and it comes back and takes it up. You got a small profit or a break even. There are going to be lots of those trades, lots of those mishmash trades, and lots of those small profits in your system. But I always say, if you've got those small profits in your system because of those little things that happen along the way, you would have made those small profits scalping anyway. Wouldn't have made any difference. The difference would have been that you're not looking for the big one. But now, with this kind of strategy, you're looking for the big one. You only need 2 big ones to cover the whole 10 trades. That'll make you a win. Imagine only needing to win 2 trades to be in profit over a period of 10 trades. That's insane. All I say is stick to the strategy, be consistent, you'll be okay. You'll make the money that you want to make in the market. It's not that difficult, guys. It's not impossible to do it. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe. Could be handy. Get some more people on. Don't forget to come back and watch the live shows. Live shows are really important. Got to come back for the live shows. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesday 11 GMT plus 2. Thursdays 2:30 GMT plus 2. Come back for the live shows. Let's chat. On the weekends, I go over the markets. We go over the weekly and we see what's going on for the week ahead. And every morning, like I say, the members get a video about the markets and on a daily basis. Guys, I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you somewhere along the way. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the weekend. Till the next one. Cheers. Ciao.